This audio was recorded for the Heads and Tails Mental Health Project with Chilli Studios.
Number one, I've done 10 quotes. Number one, and they're fairly poetic, but there's kind of got a lot of anger in them, I find. I assumed to be me, but the swathe of bereft was overwhelming to the extent that I pondered within it, too exemplar of feeling. Number two, the anger came forth and it was crushed with a smile. 3. The wording was rife with insult and applause. I amazed myself with grammar compound. 4. My feelings were the now stored in a bottle. I threw to the horizon and hit the target of pronounced. Dead was me, her confused. Idioms of exactive. 5. Targets were enemies, one pervaded to clue oneself up against in angst of transform. 6. Agonizations of gloom were repentant unto the sound of scape. Run, run from the madding glowered. 7. Recovery. Environmental droop, quintessential calls of or arithmetized, amassments of damned ionic in titter thus to the daybreak, called unisons of manifold. 8. Blossoms are therefore they occur naturally within bread. Feelings of flutter embarked were they throughout the taint of their reasons. 9. 'Twas the meaning I recovered from dwelt upon the timings of which were elusive. Come hurry down the lane to one's calling. 10. Replay, evident throughout of ample forthright, decisive manner, begone to humour's amusement unto.
It's brilliant. It's a lot to kind of unpick. It's really, dense, packed. It's brilliant. I like that. I wrote it down. Was it? Didn't write it very well. And something of manifold. What was that bit?
Called daybreak. Hang on. Titter thus to the daybreak, called unisons of manifold.
Unisons of manifold. That's crazy.
So what's the what of manifold?
Unisons.
Oh, right.
Because unisons is, it's
thought of atoms and stuff,
it's something together, isn't it? And then manifold.
I thought of atoms and earthquakes and things. Yeah.
Parliaments of crows.
Oh yeah, it's called murder. Is it a murder of crows?
Oh right, a murder of crows.
Yeah, unison of manifolds.
So it's like a different sort of, not commandments, but number 10 quotations there for you.
Yeah, it's sort of it's like sort of crazy syntax.
It's with being an artist and using paint and stuff and being trying to express yourself with word when you're used to like doing it with paint. And it's just happened over a number of years. This has, and it's a bit kind of run riot, you know.
Like German, we mentioned it another time when like German words when they sort of stack loads of words together.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Thank you for that.
Comments? Okay, let's move on.
Right. Recovery. There is only one way to recover from the disease of life. We can all do it. You just need a rope, or a high cliff, or a bare bodkin. Once it is done, there is no more pain, no more tortured doubts, no more regrets, and unlife is peaceful. Only the horrible remains. We are all tiny mites on a warm wall, waiting for the final end. There you go.
Tiny mics on a warm wall. I love it.
That's very powerful. I like that. It's you're implying that life's an illness.
Yeah,
right?
it comes from somewhere, and I can't remember where.
Well, a bare bodkin comes from.
Oh yeah, the bare bodkin comes from Hamlet, but the rest of it comes from somewhere as well. It might well be Hamlet.
Yeah, it's sort of almost it's almost like saying that there is no recovery other than
Yes.
something as extreme as that actually following on what you said.
That's the thing everybody's in denial about, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Either it's a fatal illness, unless you bring it to a premature.
Yeah. Or it's almost every idea of recovery or anything like that is a dream. It's your idealistic dream.
I think, because people are not, there's no outlet for or emotions considered to be weak, Emotions considered to be weak a lot in society, isn't it? You get too emotional. But with some people, they need a root of, and this, I can't see any, some people just need to have a good cry, some people, and crying is perceived, to be, you've lost it, or, you're weak. When they actually encourage you to do that, or to find an expressive route of,
some
this
people
is
run,
crying,
other
this is
stuff
crying.
like that as well. Some people also do just like play sports 5 nights a week instead of crying, or some people do this and that.
Yeah.
When we are born, we cry that we are come to this great stage of fools.
That's a good one.
That's from King Lear.
It's lovely. Right.
Well, I haven't written much, just I thought what everyone said about the word itself, recovery, just it's a good illustration of how kind of imperfect language is, and it's just a fluid thing that changes over time, and meanings change completely over time, and it all depends on how it's used, basically, and how it's lived with, and that's kind of, I think, applies to the actual process of recovery as well, that it's how people live it. It's a constantly evolving and changing thing. It's not something that's ever finished. There's no kind of zenith to recovery. You never get to the top of the mountain and that's it, because there's nowhere to go if you do that, except back down. So it's like every day, I think it's just, there are basic principles kind of about minimising harm and fulfilling potential and just achieving a certain kind of stability that you might not have had before. And I think that's kind of what I think recovery is, and hopefully it's something that gets better as it goes along, but it might not always. I think that's what the community aspect of it is all about, that people can't do it themselves and they need support. So it's never a done and kind of dusted thing, I think it's something that's kind of a lived process. It's kind of
It's really, really, really bright, really well put.
Well, you said, when if you record this process, and if you ever work to fully recover, you get to the top of the mountain and there's nowhere else to go. Isn't there a bigger mountain after that?
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant, it's like, well, what's the next thing then? What's the next thing? It's in the very sense of that's it, I've done it, I've finished,
Well, it's never finished, is it? I mean, there's always something else to achieve, but whether that's recovery or not is...
Yeah, well, that's what I mean about kind of the limitation of language, because recovery, the word itself kind of does imply that it can be finished. You've got something back, you've recovered it, you've got it again, but in the sense that we mean it, talking about people recovering from trauma or illness or addictions or whatever, it's not the case, is it, really?
So it should be recovering rather than recover.
Yeah, possibly, yeah.
Yeah.
But it depends how you interpret the word as well, doesn't it? Because recovery can also mean, can imply an ongoing process, but it can also mean, that you've achieved something as well. It's kind of a bit of both.
Well, in order to establish whether any process has ended, you've got to define an end point, you know, to a milestone, you know, and if you can't decide when you've reached that milestone, then you can't decide on the milestone, you can't decide then when you've reached it. If you don't know where you're going, you know, you don't know whether you got there.
Well, you
basically.
get to have lots of small short-term goals and milestones, and you achieve them bit by bit, one by one.
Right, well that would be part of recovery, not the full recovery.
I suppose it's not recovered, is it? I suppose as well. So there is some vagueness in it.
I would say I would like to think beyond recovery. You know, is the way I like to think.
But what about circular process?
Mm.
So you just go round and round, getting better then worse, or getting better then different, and
Well, not everybody defines himself as being in recovery, you know. I mean, there's only people who, like us, who talk about it, you know, and you know, by as much and by talking about it so much, we box ourselves in, you know, and we're not part of, you know, we have to get beyond that mindset of just recovery. There's more to life than just recovery. Recovery is the first step, I would say.
Yeah, it's like following a map, isn't it? It's, you're not sure. You've like got a map of. You've got an internal map as to. You've got a knowledge as to kind of, you know, where you think you, or what might help you, and then you've got. You have, because I get lost in this bureaucracy, you know. I don't know about anybody else.
I think words can take you further away from meaning sometimes, which is weird, isn't it?
Yeah. And I get a bit confused by it, and I find my way of trying to progress through it is to try to kind of get a broad view of what the word recovery may mean in all aspects of. It's just me though. I don't know how other people think, but I mean, people have made some really fantastic points on this table over the past couple of weeks. That people are really, I'm astounded by how like clever people are. You know, I'm amazed by people all the time. Really am. By what they say, and I'm always learning. I'm always learning about what other people have to say, you know.
Should we move on?
Sorry. Forget about that.
It's, I mean, this contradicts itself, this handout, because it's in recovery from a substance, well, I think it is. Recovery from a substance use disorder is defined as a process, right? So, and then further down it says, recovery is generally seen in this approach as a personal journey rather than a set outcome. Okay. And then further down still it says studies demonstrating that many people do recover. Well, in order to demonstrate that people recover, you have to define metrics to measure against. You know, so how are they defining people who do recover? This is saying there is a recovery point, that people have recovered and they're no longer therefore recovering.
Like they're referring to an homogenous group of people, like not individuals, but like it makes people sound like a lump of clay or something, you know.
Living in a community.
Yeah.
A number of standardised measures have been developed to assess aspects of recovery.
It sounds like this sort of wording here sounds like you're being experimented on from my point of view. Just the wording that they use. It's just from my point of view. It's just. Sorry.
I mean, it's pretty subjective.
Yeah, I think on some level you just have to kind of accept it's not possible to do that in some ways, and it just you have to rely on people self-reporting and telling you how they feel and how much better they are than they were in the past and things like that. You know, if it's working for them, if it's not working for them.
And also, like, for me, there's a relationship between this and the relationship between individual and society. And I think if you have a standardised measure, firstly of what's normal, and then a measure of how someone is, whether someone is normal or not normal, then both those applications, both those approaches are wrong in terms of assessing an individual. I don't know. I think it's.
And when you're asking people, are you getting them to give unbiased answers, or are you getting them to say what you want them to hear? Like feedback form, somebody standing there watching you fill it in. Or
is someone from the flip side saying something that they think they need, gets them out of that room?
Yeah. I mean, if they're there under duress and in prison or somewhere, say that, and they've got like a rehabilitation course to do, they're bound to say what people want to hear, obviously.
Recovery depends very much on how people are feeling this. It's only the person who is recovering can assess how well they're doing.
Yeah, I do really appreciate what's behind this, but the wording, I don't know who thinks of the wording for this sort of, it just makes you feel like you're a rat in a cage, But I mean, I do really appreciate, and I do from the depth of my heart, that someone would, or some people, some measure of authority would be kind of wanting to solve and wanting to help,
Recovery colleges come from America, they did back years ago, which used the recovery model.
Is that you what thought of?
So,
sorry?
Did you write that?
I did, yeah. I did. Don't know where it came from. Yeah, I'm just kind of try and logify some of it.
Right, we'll move on. Go away.
Okay, just 3 short things. Recovery. Plato said the biggest thing we have to recover from is birth. In a world where everyone understood and accepted that we each arrive on the planet with various amounts of shit, people could learn to mind their own and bear with others, whilst we all had a chance to discover what we're here for, good and bad. And thirdly, I don't like the word very much, recovery. I think
I like that.
I think
that should be somebody's logo.
It's really good, isn't it?
I think it conceals the word breakdown, which is a pejorative, in most instances. Get it fixed.
Yeah.
So the word recovery's got connotations of
breakdown.
Yeah.
And that is a barrier to progress.
Absolutely, and it's saying that a part of you is not okay.
Can I take a photograph of that when I'm finished?
You should sell that to a garage, like you said.
Or a college.
Yeah.
That's what we need, a garage. A human garage where we can go and get
Recovery's
fixed.
around a lorry, isn't it?
Well, you could sell it to the recovery college as well.
That's not me. I didn't want to say so.
No, that'd be cheeky then.
Get to fill in the gaps.
Yeah. It's interesting that is there a greater trauma than being born? Does that set us up with various things even then?
Well, I'm one of the oldest here.
You survive it,
It still takes a long time to get over it.
Yeah. Right, we've got to hurry around. Do you have yours? No?
Recovery from where to where? The accused did quaff 9 pints of ale on the morning of the incident. He then perambulated in an unsteady gait from the Dog and Kangaroo, hurling abuse at all and sundry to horrified passers-by. Though his articulations were so mangled through intoxication, none near him or far were able to hear or apprehend his words or meaning. He stumbled into the road where, amidst oncoming traffic, he reached the relative safety and sanctuary of a traffic island where he either lay or fell down. The drivers of vehicles had to slow down to allow him to pass in safety, although they did this, judging by the profundity of vituperations they directed at the accused, more out of respect for the law than his life. Having lain thereby for an indeterminate time, he was encouraged and assisted to his feet by myself. He rose to his feet as I lifted him with difficulty and helped him safely back to the other side of the road. He continued to fulminate and grabbed onto me several times during the attempt, saying something like, "Best Mara, cheer." When we got to the other side of the road, he reported that this was not where he wanted to be, that I had taken him to the wrong side of the road and that he wanted to be back where he started from. I advised him to calm down and assured him it was where he had started from, but he kept insisting it wasn't and that he would knock my block off if I didn't take him back again, at which point I arrested him. I got the idea from your, I mentioned court statement.
It's like one from 1907 or something. There's a couple of words there.
Yeah. Well, we're reading archives in that sort of language, archaic language, yeah. So that's what sprung to mind.
I didn't realise until right at the end that it was a Princeton then.
Neither did I. There's more stuff like that in Mammoth Obsequies by D. Crossley, so if you listen to this in 100 years' time, read me book.
So I'm just letting it turn over my head. Okay, any thoughts, anybody? Fuck off.
Well, they usually put I think when they write reports and court stuff and that, they usually have to put verbatim everything that's said, you know, so there'll be a lot of swear words in there, but I didn't want to put that in.
Right, I'll read mine quickly. Okay. It's kind of recovery from lack of love, really, is the title. Runaway train, banging like pots, stomach in balls, sick on my socks. There's a bearded Italian jumping tables. He did so much, even did the fables. There's a girl with a smile whose leg doesn't work, with a toothless cousin with a colostomy bag. He's a needle in the bum guy. Steal your baby food. Still got some charm. Broke his legs falling under a car. Loves old times. Loves a jar. We'll bang on the door. Go see his mother. Take a 20 and say he'll recover. He's going to make shoes for the rich and she won't have to worry. He knows he's trouble and he's so sorry. Raz is keeping up by the emergency stairs, tapping his tongue while his eyeballs flare. Feels so good, just guilt he can't recover from, wading in the silt of what he should have done. Running from another landlord to a new recovery, looking for someone new who's going to love me. I know I can be all the dreams I've had if I didn't deep down think I was bad.
I like the last line. That was very pithy and powerful. Yeah, I had the thing pointing towards me still, by the way.